G'day humans, Chris Stead here. I'm on the road and today I'm at the Ovolo Woolloomooloo Hotel, which has to go down probably as the hotel with the most O's in its title anywhere in the world.
Are we there yet?
No!
Are we there yet?
No!
Are we there yet?
No!
Are we there yet?
Yes!
Dad, I'm hungry.
Now I'm going to give you a bit of a tour of the hotel and the room that we stayed in last night, give you an idea of what to expect if you're considering staying here. You can see here the nice entrance they've got. It's really quite beautiful. I've actually been here a lot of times before for events. They host a lot of technology events here that I go to as part of my job as a journalist. But I've never actually stayed here. I've always really wanted to and just see what experience what it's like. Now in terms of location, I'll just give you a bit of an idea of where we are. So that's the CBD over there, the centre of the city. That's where you're going to find City Tower. You've got the Harbour Bridge that way, I'll show you in a sec. And you've also got Hyde Park and then onto Darling Harbour, Circular Quays down that way. And this way, if you can come over this way actually, just through here, you'll see through that tall building, that's kind of the heart of King's Cross, which is kind of your big, I guess party area in Sydney here. So that gives you an idea. So in terms of location, we're actually in between a couple of things, but also away from everything. So last night we thought about the idea of walking down and have a look at the bridge because it's vivid at the moment, it's all lit up with lights. And if you come around this way, I'll show you what I mean. And we thought, well, that's actually probably going to take us about an hour there and back. And so we didn't do it. So if you're thinking about really wanting to be in the heart of the city and having really access to a lot of the things that are in the middle of the city, your Opera House, your Harbour Bridge, your Darling Harbour area, the precinct, the buildings, the parks, that type of thing, then maybe this isn't a great place for you, especially if you're here for like 7 or 8 days. But the Harbour Bridge is right over there. That's the Botanic Gardens. I mean, that's lovely as well. But yeah, we're not really quite in the heart of the city here. You're just a bit further out and there's no trains and there's just one bus route and there's no tram. So in terms of easy access to things, not that great, but if you want to be in the city but not in the city, then it's quite good. And if you come and have a look down here, so that's the water, the hotel's right on the water's edge here. And all the rooms are up there. You have a look up here. They're all your rooms, so every single room's water facing here. And along there you got some of the really top-end restaurants in Sydney, including China Doll, which is about a third of the way down. So that gives you a bit of an idea of the location of where you are. So location-wise, it's really very specific to your kinds of needs. Just over here, you got a couple of old school pubs, by the way, as well. So you got the Woolloomooloo Bay Hotel, you got the Tilbury just around the corner here. So a couple of local pubs you can get to. Obviously lots of restaurants around as well, but definitely not in the heart of the city if that is what you are after. This is not the place to go. All right, let's have a quick tour inside. I'm just heading into the foyer now. It's got a really lovely aesthetic, and obviously they've adapted this old pier into a hotel, so there's awesome quirks to that, which, in terms of the way it looks and feels, and there's also some downsides which I'll show you. So you can see a lot of the old kind of work, when it was a working dock, it's still all here. Really high roof. And I'll take you a quick look around here. This is a reception, just quite a little reception. Now, one of the things that this hotel has, which is interesting, is a free lolly bar, which my kids would have loved. You can just come and get those whenever you want. And there's also free mini bars inside the room. Now, I'll talk about that a bit more in a sec. It's nice, but it's also a little weird. So this is all you've really got in the foyer. Now, like I said, there's a lot of corporate events here. I've been to quite a few. I think I've been to 3 in the last 2 weeks alone. So that gives you an idea of how frequent it is. Now, when we got here last night, there was a big Virgin party going on in here. Virgin, the airplane, not the unfortunate state of affairs. And this place was pumping. So this whole place, the whole dining area here was a huge party producing a lot of noise. There's all the restaurants back onto there, and then once you get past the end of that building down there, you're out of the hotel and into just a public kind of, apartments mostly, but also businesses and stuff. You see, it's really cool and funky. Look at the fan. It really is quite an amazing and unique hotel in that regard. But as I mentioned, it's got some negatives as well. So I'll just go show you the pool and the gym, and then we'll take a look at the room. So I'm just going to film this for you. Right down there is where the hotel stops. And then where we are right now is where the pool is. Now, there's a map here. It does not reference where the pool is. I got stuck. I was wandering around last night trying to find this place for quite a while. The only indication that you know where to go is actually here. You need to buzz yourself in. And then go down an elevator to get to the pool. Now, this is a shared pool and gym with all the apartments. I'm told that down the end here is Russell Crowe's apartment, so that's also an option for you. You can see if you can stalk Russell Crowe without a usual. So that is how you find the pool. Now you know. There's a couple of things like that actually, just at the buffet breakfast before, and they've got the cups, the plates and the bowls all kind of hidden down in the cupboards, they're not visible, so you don't actually know they're there. Actually kind of challenging to find. Alright, so here's the pool. Pretty nice down here. I came down here last night and it was actually just too hot and humid in here, really nice, but you can see now during the day it's a lot better. So you've got a decent sized pool, which goes down to a hot tub, which doesn't have much water in it, but actually bubbles over the top. So it's nice that it exists. And I haven't actually seen anyone else down here. So I don't know if it gets a lot of use. And then an okay gym. Not a hell of a lot of space in here to get on the ground and do anything. But most of your regulars. It's actually nice and cool in here as well. They've done well with the air conditioning. And I'll show you because this is quite nice. But out here, they've got a bunch of cabanas and everything. It's a pretty nice indoor-outdoor space. So if you are staying here for a couple of days, then this is pretty awesome. And I believe there's an outdoor pool as well you can access, which is further down, like well outside, like a bit of a hike away, like a separate pool you get access to. I'm not 100% sure of that though, so confirm that. So here's a quick look at the buffet breakfast at the Ovolo Woolloomooloo. Now, one of the things about this hotel is that they don't believe in meat, or they don't serve meat. So it's a very different type of buffet breakfast experience. It's not the biggest selection of choice, or variety of choice. And it's going to have a kind of a different taste to it to what you'll be used to because it's sourced differently, it's more organic. And that's not going to be for everyone. So I just found it tasted it tasted too different for me, and I didn't quite like it, but I feel like other people will really love it. So just know what you're getting and what to expect when you get there, and you'll be right. Okay, so this is level 5. This is where we were staying. We were in 505. I just wanted to show you here kind of like the old woodwork. You can see in all the beams here, and you know, you can't even buy wood like this anymore all the way along. So it's really quite lovely in that regard. And if you come through here, we're in room 505. So, one of the first things I got in this room was really surprising. I walked in, I didn't notice that there's a staircase behind you there. And I came in and I was just like, where's the bed? But this is the loft, of course. This is the City View loft room. Now this goes for, it was pretty expensive. They go for up to $500 for one night, if you're doing a one night stay. So that's kind of really up there, especially for city prices. It's still even really up there for Sydney, for something that's not in the middle of the city. Now, I guess we've got to talk about the positives first. So just ignore the TV. I'm actually doing a review of this TV at the moment, which is the new Sony TV. So that's actually not the usual TV you get in a room. There will usually be a TV there. It's got Chromecast, I'm told. But if you, out here, you've got this beautiful little aspect where you're looking at the city skyline. You can see the Harbour Bridge just a bit, let's say Harbour Bridge glimpses. But we're quite at the back of the hotel towards the road. As you went further along, I think you'd get better views. The water out there, it was really quite nice, lovely sitting down here last night, looking out at the lights and out at the city, and it's vivid at the moment, like I mentioned. So Just seeing the Harbour Bridge light up in the background, that was really, really lovely. Super comfy couch, quite a bit of space, like a lot of space down here as well. These blinds and everything are automated, which is a nice little touch, very cool, very funky. And as you can see, you've got these kind of like, this kind of industrial, they've tried to tie it in really well to the fact that this used to be a working wharf. And I think they've done a pretty good job with that. A fair bit of storage space, nice to have a nice little a separate place to eat as well, because there's no coffee table, which, you know, a bit hard, you can't watch a TV from there, but still that's okay. Now if you come and look back this way, from over there, you'll see, this is curious here, there's a whole cupboard dedicated to air conditioning. Now I don't know if this is unique to this room, from what I can see from the photos, there's something here in every room, it's just locked, I can't go in there. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about some noise issues that we had last night. You got air conditioning up and down, no LED screen, it's quite old school. We had quite a bit of drama last night just trying to get the air conditioning right. Like we pumped it right up and it wouldn't go up and it was quite chilly, and then all of a sudden it was really, really hot and we had to bring it back down. In the end I turned it off. And up here you can see they've got these skylights in the roof. 2 skylights, which are great. There's a stick so you can open them up. Quite nice, you can kind of almost, you know, see the stars. Not that you can see many stars when you're in the city, but kind of look up at the night sky, which is lovely, but it lets in a heck of a lot of light. So even if you've got the blind closed, as soon as the sun's up, the room is bright, like really bright. It just comes straight through those blind things anyway. So if you're someone who does not like to have light bleed in their room because they want to sleep in the mornings, then that's going to be a problem for you. Now the minibar, as I mentioned, the minibar is actually included, which is a really lovely touch, right? And it came with, I've put a few extra things in there, but it came with some waters, a couple of cans of Coke, and it came with 1 beer and 1 wine. It's like short wine. So I got up here, thirsty, big day at work. The beer was gone in about 35 seconds. And I was like, oh, well, I'd love another beer. So I phoned reception, I said, look, I know it's a free minibar, so can I get a couple more beers? Because, you know, 1 beer is not going to last too long, Australian. And they went, yeah, no worries. And they came up and they handed me 2 room temperature beers. And that was, like, what am I going to do with that? So, I don't know, that was just kind of weird. So the service, the people I've spoken to have been really, really nice. The service was really quick when we checked in and so forth. And the person at the buffet breakfast who was involved with this was really, really lovely as well. But that kind of thing was just like, what? And then last night I ordered some room service, and you could choose a time, and I said, look, I'd already had a cheese platter at like 6 o'clock or something, and so I was like, okay, well, I'm not that hungry now, but I'm going to order my dinner so it arrives at 9 o'clock or whatever it was. So I said 9 o'clock, and then it arrived at 8:20 as I was just getting into the shower. And I'm just like, I deliberately said 9 o'clock, I didn't want it now, so I went cold. Anyway, so those things were actually, like, they're worth noting because that's the service you're paying for it at $500 a night. That shouldn't happen, it shouldn't happen. Some hanging space here, all open. In here you've got a downstairs toilet, so that's actually nice because otherwise you'd be running up and down the stairs constantly, and a basin. Various nooks and crannies and weirdness, and then of course you've got the staircase. So we'll have a look upstairs and show you the room. Up into the loft area. So really interesting, cool design. Quite a temperature difference between downstairs and upstairs. As you can imagine, all the heat rises. So if you're trying to get hot downstairs, and then you come upstairs, you're really hot. Bed was very, very luxurious, soft, comfortable. Pillows were lovely. That side of things was really good. Lovely sheets and doonas, everything like that, great. The problem is that there's some sort of pipe or something that goes through there underneath the bed that makes a really loud whirring sound, like constant, like loud hum, like so loud that I put earplugs in and you can still hear the hum. And it's nothing to do with this room. So when I turned off all the air conditioning and so forth, it didn't stop. Yeah, and it was really loud. And on top of that, as I mentioned last night, there was a corporate gig downstairs for Virgin, and they were pumping beats at a DJ, and you could clearly hear, even while you're watching the TV, all you could hear is like, and even the conversation of a loud hum. And because this is so frequently used as a corporate place, I think there's a significant risk that you might run into that. Now, it didn't go too late. I think it was probably off by about 9:30 or something like that. But if you wanted to come and sit in your room through the evening and just relax, chill out, you could end up listening to a whole entire corporate party happening the entire night. So make sure you double check that that's not something that's booked when you're booked, if that's a problem for you. And like I said, something, I don't know if it's specific to this room, 505 or not, but there is some sort of pipe going through under there that's producing a really loud hum. When you go downstairs, you can hear it above you, and it's right under your head when you're sleeping, and there's no way of stopping it. You can't even turn off the air conditioning and stopping it. I don't know if it's pumping from that air conditioning room to somewhere else in the building, but that was a major, major issue for me, and enough for me not to even want to come back. So if you're a light sleeper, there's something to take into account. Okay, have a look in through here. You got the bathroom, pretty tight, but not too bad. It's all, nowadays it's all pump packs and everything like that, so that's good. And over here in the shower, quite low for someone who's tall like me, like my head was almost on the shower. The pressure was okay, not amazing, but it was okay. The biggest problem was that the difference between hot and cold was like a millimetre on the thing. So you actually kind of like, it's too cold, it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too hot. It's really quite hard to get it right. And you couldn't really have a refreshing shower. It was either, you kind of had to have a hot one. So that's something they could also work on in there as well. So that's a good overview of the room. Now the one thing that you should probably keep in mind if you are going to stay here and you're thinking about the in-room dining is that, much to my shock and horror, it's vegan and vegetarian only. There are no other options available to you. So I ordered a bunch of things just to try it anyway, and you know, I'll show it to you now so you can see it. The serving sizes were really quite small for the price. Like the cheese platter was $34, I think, and it was like the thinnest slithers of cheese you could ever possibly imagine. Possibly not even enough for two. So that was disappointing. All the serving sizes were really small. We got the guacamole, that serving size was really small. The menu's a bit confusing for someone like me who's a bit of an idiot when it comes to this stuff, because I'm not vegan, I'm not vegetarian, so I don't understand it. All peace to you if that's who you are. But it actually says chicken schnitzel. And I was like, okay. So I had to ring them up and say, it says chicken schnitzel, but it's not really chicken, is it? And they went, no. And I went, so why does it say chicken? So yeah, the cheeseburger that we had, I had the cheeseburger. I thought, I've got to try a cheeseburger. What's a vegan cheeseburger like? And it's basically tastes like a McDonald's burger. And again, you're paying $25 for this burger, and it's this vegetarian vegan thing, but it had no salad. And no, like, surely if you're going to get a vegan or a vegetarian burger, you might as well pack it in there with beetroot and pineapple and all this really cool yummy stuff, but there was none of that. It was literally just whatever they call beef and a bit of cheese and a pickle. Like, it was a McDonald's burger. It tasted like a McDonald's burger. So that's interesting. So when I said, okay, so how do I order some meat? They just went, well, you just got to get Uber Eats. So that's still an option too. Of course, there's pubs across the road, there's restaurants downstairs, but if you want to have in-room dining, do keep into your mind that your restrictions are going to be extremely limited and quite pricey. So overall, my experience of this hotel, as you may have told, is very hit and miss. I'm really into the quirkiness of it and the design of it and the history of it, and the decor and all of that is really quite lovely. But then there's all these cons to it, which I just couldn't get over. It was noisy, it was light. The service was just like eyebrow raising at times. The food in-dining menu is really restricted, and the location is very specific to certain needs. It's not very just all-encompassing. So for the price that it is, I got to question whether this is the right hotel for many, many people. I know I've looked online, it gets ridiculously good reviews. For me, it's not up there with any of the 5-star or even close kind of reviews that I would have given in the past. And I think you really need to have very specific needs to want to choose the Ovolo Woolloomooloo. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this hotel. I'm Chris Stead. As for now, I'm going back on the road. Yew!